Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the House Party 5v5 Season 3 Finals Game 2. We've got SkyHi on the blue side, White Lightning on the red side. My name is Devin Declaves Rashala, and tonight, once again, I am joined by my wonderful co-caster Jeremy, Mr. Stein, Boyd. How about that last game?
I'll let you know when it finally hits me. I'm still kind of catching my breath and reliving the glory that was the slow Gnar backdoor after the double ace. That was super exciting. I'm both hoping and not hoping that Mordekaiser and Gangplank are in. Yeah, Gangplank is banned by White Lightning in this one. Not willing to give that over to Mecha Nerding in game 2. But interesting enough, SkyHi lets the Mordekaiser through and bans the Elise. Wondering if they're trying to pick it themselves. And yeah, White Lightning does end up banning it away. So we'll see how we get bans from here on out and if it's going to make it more interesting from there.
That's a little bit scary. I was kind of expecting the Mordekaiser to be banned out by White Lightning because they know what it can do. They know that it can do a lot of damage, and they don't want that damage to fall into SkyHi's hands because, well, this time they wouldn't have the Gangplank to counteract it.
And it still feels weird to be in a meta where you say the Gangplank damage counteracted by the Mordekaiser. But we do see that Braum first pick. Braum, just overall a really strong support. I'm guessing that's going to put Agiles over onto a more damage-oriented AD carry. Kind of hoping for the Tristana pick, because the level 6 of the Tristana Braum is so scary. And we do have a lot of games onto assorted AD carries. I would also wouldn't mind to see a Corki, but really hoping for a non-Sivir pick, because as much as we talked about damage from the last set, there wasn't a ton coming out from Agiles. He had a lot of time where he could have been free hitting, but didn't really follow up. Was the number 3 damage source on his team, and really want to see something higher, especially with Sivir's utility being nerfed so hard.
Yeah, and I think it would be interesting to see that come out again. We do see that the Echo and the Alistar are being picked up by White Lightning, and we briefly talked about it before the games were going on. The tank Echo we've been seeing a lot more lately. It's a little bit weird because whenever he first came out, I was like, oh yeah, he's a really fun assassin, and now everybody's playing him as a tank in the same way that Elise went the same route. She started out as like, oh, she does a whole bunch of damage, let's build her damage, and now everybody's like, oh, she actually works really well if we build her as a tank, so I guess we'll build her as a tank. We see the Tristana locked in though. A little bit unexpected. We were kind of hoping for that Sivir, but I guess the Tristana will work out really well with the Braum. Particularly because it can take down towers really fast, and they do pick up the Gragas as well.
Yeah, that level 6 from the Tristana Braum is really terrifying, and I wonder what Simcab and Habs are going to pick into it. I do not think the patented Urgot Nunu comp is likely to come out here, but we'll see moving forward a little bit more.
It could happen.
I just don't know where you would put them unless that's a mid-echo, which, though it would be Habs' playstyle, I don't think is too likely.
We'll see. Alright, looks like they're going for the more reasonable Maokai and Vayne. Might swap it up at the last second, but probably unlikely. And I gotta talk about the Vayne a little bit, because we did see recently a couple of stats coming out for AD carries, and Vayne is next to Jinx. They're kind of tied for first place, depending upon what the other parts of the team are. But Vayne right now is really strong against these juggernauts because she can kite them very well. She can do a whole bunch of damage to them. They like building health. She counters their health. Her Tumble has a relatively short cooldown. Her Condemn is very effective against people that don't have any form of dash. So it's kind of interesting seeing it coming out a little bit more. Whenever we talk about a long time ago, people used to joke about the Vayne mains being terrible and how she doesn't really bring anything to the team comp until 30 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I really like the Vayne pick to go along with the Maokai, because the Maokai does give her kind of the support and control going into the next fight, but it makes the counter pick of the Maokai of any sort of of the Juggernaut bruisers a lot less viable. Really interesting, we see Skarner on the table for the second straight game, and no one's picked it up on either side. But we do have the Gragas pick, we do have the Echo pick, most likely going to be the jungle matchup in here. iSenpai getting the last pick over to Habs. We do see the Azir again over to Alcantos. He played a very strong job on it in this past game. and I'm wondering what Habs is going to show us. Although I was impressed with the Zed 1v1 against the Gangplank, I don't know how well it fits in this matchup necessarily. The Orianna pick would be pretty strong.
Okay, lock in the Orianna. All right.
I do like the Orianna because it gives you safe wave control, gives you more of the ability to peel for Vayne, and to let Kurasina show he's the all-star AD carry for Team White Lightning.
And I like the Orianna a lot in this particular matchup because they have 3 people in the Alistar, the Echo, and the Maokai who all can dive in really, really easily. And it also allows for a decent amount of peel for both himself and for Kurasina. I'll be interested to see what they do with that. Again, they seem to be going for this more team fight-oriented team comp, swapping over from their objective style team comp they had the last game, and it looks like it kind of swapped because now they have they're against SkyHi, who has Tristana, who is next to Jinx the objective AD carry. She can burst down towers really fast.
And not only can she burst down towers, but alongside of that, Brahm's able to stop so many fights from happening. Like, yes, there is so much peel for Vayne if you try to go on Vayne and Gragas doesn't get the beautiful barrel combination able to pick her off. But otherwise, I don't really see how well White Lightning can engage on this SkyHi comp unless iSenpai gets a really good flank, which, I mean, he had some gorgeous ults in the last fight, don't get me wrong, but he shouldn't be able to simply just walk up to Alcantos or Agiles and be able to just lock him down. There's so much peel and so many tools coming out from this SkyHi lineup. I really think they have a strong zone control teamfight comp, and White Lightning is very much this, let's let Kurasina do the majority of our damage, kite around, and do some great things. So if White Lightning wins, this is going to be on Kurasina and shows a great aptitude for Kurasina on this vein. But otherwise, I'm liking SkyHi's comp a lot better. I think it's a lot more versatile and does a lot more around objectives, which is where these two teams with a lot of disengage are more than likely going to be fighting.
Yeah, one thing to say though is that a lot of times in the games that we see, the game ends up being Kurasina is doing a whole bunch of damage in the team fights, and Hobbs is outplaying everybody. He's all over the place. Whether it's body blocking skill shots for people on Yasuo, or throwing out wind walls and blocking stuff, or even very good shadow placement when he's playing on Zed, or just overall good movement on Victor, which he does do a lot of damage on Victor, but he also tends to be in very good positioning. His positioning and his mechanical skill is very high. Kurasina on Vayne, we've seen him play it before. We've seen him do really well on it. He has carried games as Vayne, and I am very curious as what's going to happen. They couldn't give him Callista. They didn't want to give the Elise, and obviously they don't want Hobbs on Yasuo. So they're kind of like SkyHi is locked into their bans. It's really weird. I'm thinking it's going to come a lot down to the mid game. There's not really going to be one lane or another that's going to get forced down a lot, because top lane is going to be, yeah, Mecha Nerd's going to have the early game against iSenpai, but Maokai will eventually kind of be tanking up to fight him, and mid lane is going to be back and forth because it's this Orianna versus Azir, and bot lane is just going to be, okay, Kurasina versus Agiles featuring their supports.
Yeah, and I think that is a little bit more favor with the Braum being able to kind of safely impact that pre-level 3. But we're going to see. We're going to take a brief break, give the casters some water, let me catch my breath going into this next one in case I have to cast another backdoor, and we'll be back right after the loading screen for Game 2 of SkyHi versus White Lightning.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, welcome to the House Party 5v5 Finals. Oh man, we had a fantastic game one between SkyHi and White Lightning, and we're just already getting into a fantastic game two. Hopefully it is even half as hype as the last game. I am, of course, Declavase, being joined by the wonderful Mr. Stein. And
Yeah,
have you caught your breath?
Still no, but I guess I can deal with it enough as we go into this game and look into these level ones. We see kind of the standard layout coming up for White Lightning here. Very early kind of safety. Want to just kind of play level one pretty safe, but with Blease on this Braum, they definitely have the level one advantage coming out for SkyHi if they are to find a fight and or a catch. So they might be looking to invade and kind of push out and see what happens.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Yeah, we're seeing a little bit of the Gnar laugh. Looks like they may be moving up. Possibly going to see an invade towards this blue side. Not really sure they're going to be getting much out of this, though. They really just want the vision.
Yeah, they get the 3 early wards out that's going to show where Chickstig LP is going to start on this map. Hopefully, it gives enemy the ability to not be soloed out by Chickstig LP for the first blood. But, I mean, there's also a different jungle matchup as well.
Minions have spawned.
They're going to look to do some safety, and this time it's Agils and Blease who are doing the level 1 camp to try to get the early lane advantage. So, really interesting adaptation. And Christina and Sibkev, I believe, are they probably going on to the Gromp, trying to delay it as much as possible to not be seen on a ward. Unfortunately, they are still seen on a ward.
I think they were trying to wait for the ward to time out, but there's just not enough time for them. And
Yeah.
they do get spotted out by that ward, but it's not really going to be a huge surprise in bot lane. We got both lanes taking the jungle camps, and looks like Mecha Nerd's going to be helping out enemy. He does not want to go top lane early, but it looks like it's like we're going to be seeing iSenpai do the same thing.
Yeah, it looks like both teams are doing the double jungle start. Gives both the jungler and the top laner a safer start, or earlier double EXP. I really like the call. It's been an adaptation in the most recent patch as kind of a safe way to get both through their jungle just in case they get invaded on, and gives both of the junglers a higher HP bar, and they're able to kind of gank a lot earlier and a lot safer.
Yeah, the more important part of that is the ganking, because normally, for most junglers that aren't like Shyvana or Xin Zhao or Nunu, they can't really gank early because they take so much damage in the jungle. But if you have a top laner there who soaks most of their health bar on the first pull or two, they do manage to do quite a bit in the early game. So we're going to see already, seeing enemy going straight to his Raptors, going to go for his red buff, and then likely come in for a gank bot lane, probably. LP going for the blue buff instead of going for another camp.
Yeah, just trying to get the early double buff out, with the smite up, trying to do things quickly. Be that level 3, have both buffs to trade over in the event of a kill in early 2v2. I want to think, how do you think these lanes match up? Assume if the junglers show up and you have either a 2v2 or a 3v3 in either lane set.
So I think early game, I have to give it to SkyHi in terms of the early ganking pressure, because Echo can do a relatively high amount of damage, and his CC is very strong. So, but on that same note, or sorry, to White Lightning, on that same note, to SkyHi, they do have ganking bot lane early. Braum has a whole bunch of CC in just his Winter's Bite. Ooh. For the mid lane, not really a whole lot of CC coming out from Azir, but I mean, he does do a lot of damage, so there's some potential there with enemy being able to keep things on the soldiers longer. For Mecha Nerd,
he does do a lot of damage on top of Habs already being very low on mana, because kind of forcing those early trades with Alcantos, and Alcantos does having the early laning advantage right now.
Right. The thing about going top with Mecha Nerd, though, is the gank is strong, but if Mecha Nerd can go Mega, they have a high potential of winning because of the extra CC that he can do.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on those calls. It seems like there's a lot of single target focus coming out on this White Lightning squad. They have the Alistair, who hopefully is hitting on multiple targets, but especially with the Echo, with the Vayne, with With the Maokai, they're looking to find a single target, blow them up one target at a time, and then just continue doing through that with this Vayne on this fight. So it'll be really interesting to see how they go forward in these team fights against this super peel of Braum, Gragas, Gnar. Solid team for myself.
The fight already. Hello,
a good gang. A good gang from Enemy forces the flash from my senpai. Does also force the early BM rank 5 champion mastery sign for my senpai, but
you know, why not? May as well show what you got.
Just making sure that both the jungler and top lane catch the mastery show.
And I was very impressed right there because iSenpai managed to interrupt Mecha Nerd's jump. Like, as he was transforming, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna leap in and land on him. He's like, no, you're not.
No, quick play from my senpai to escape pretty safely from that gank. Burns the flash, but nothing else. It's the second kind of early game gank we've seen from Enemy on this top lane, and I'm really questioning the early ward control from Chickstick LP and iSenpai. There hasn't been a lot of early warding in the lanes to give some safety. Especially Chickstick LP is buying a lot more selfishly, has the boots, has the health pots, and does have the sweeper, but doesn't buy additional wards to give his lanes the safety to kind of roam and pressure up ahead. And it gives SkyHi the ability to kind of be aggressive, especially when they know enemies in the area, and overall get the early lane advantage to give them an early 200 gold lead.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that there's not really any stronger warding going on, but I guess the wards that are out are good enough for iSenpai, because, well, he doesn't have a ward out right now, but he is placing a ward now. He has been warding that river, and yes, they did manage to come up behind him, but,
some good news from Alcantas. Escapes the early gank from Chickstick LP, but Chickstick LP's ganking pressure increases a lot at level 6 because you can make the stupid dives and get away safely with that ultimate. But all in all, a good play from Alcantas to kind of escape the gank early, and the only real thing we have to show in the map early on from these two junglers' first ganks are a flash blown from my senpai.
Yeah, and I don't even think that it's that strong, because we didn't see a repeat gank top lane from Enemy. Oh, Mecha Nerd is going to go Mega soon. He's going to go Mega too close to the tower, though.
But I'm wondering how much they need the repeat gank, because there's already a very large CS lead accruing in that top lane. iSenpai being zoned out of the CS very early on, using his Sapper Links to try to get some CS, but unfortunately using it and accidentally pushing the wave and pushing it out of the way to where Mecha Nerd's able to safely freeze it and really control and kind of cause a lot of problems for iSenpai.
Well, the thing is that, particularly in this type of matchup, the Maokai early, yeah, he tends to be a little bit weaker than Gnar, but what he gets is later he becomes tankier than Gnar, and he can do a decent amount of damage while still being tanky. Ooh, deciding to dive on him to fight him.
A little bit late from the ultimate firm, iSenpai not able to get the full combo and kind of stop it out, but a good trade coming out from Alcantas onto Habs, really also pushing the early CS lead. And all in all, we see stronger lanes coming up from SkyHi, and I hope they can turn it into the early mid-game team fights that they did in the previous set. They can turn it into more of an early game advantage than they did in Game 1 against White Lightning, who had the early jungle lead coming out pretty much solely on Chickstick LP, but really interesting to see where this game goes forward no matter what.
Yeah, and I'm not entirely sure how it's going to go either way, but I'm thinking that just this little lead might allow a little bit more roaming from Mecha Nerd. If he can get his tower early and shove in, that will be even better.
Yeah, really wondering where they're going to start to pressure next. All in all, we see just the early blue transfer going over to Habs here. No action really coming out from either team. Both kind of just looking around, pressuring over, using the leads they have to get some early CS and Enemy, taking some early farm from Chickstick LP. We see Chicks setting up here in this bot lane, trying to get a gank. It'll be hard to gank this Braum Alistair, but they do Braum Tristana, but they do focus on the Braum. Both TPs are coming down. I'm guessing Braum is more than likely going down for first blood, And yes, that's first blood going over to Christina on his face after a beautiful flash play coming out. Oh, unfortunate ultimate from Alcantos does not actually get the ultimate over to Habs. Habs still alive here. Does a great turnaround and a 1-for-1 as both teams flash away from the ultimate. Burns the flash, but overall a good play and an early lead from White Lightning. It was really unfortunate for Alcantos there. He halts Habs under turret, but there's just one minion there that takes the 2 turret shots for Habs, prevents him from having to use barrier, and ends up keeping him alive. And all in all, it results in the first dragon coming out for White Lightning.
I think that was a little bit of an awkward situation to be in, and getting that early dragon.
Yeah, getting that early dragon is a good lead for White Lightning. Not really sure what happened to Deck. His mic seems to have cut out for a couple seconds, but I'll go back to casting. So, some good early trades. We see a 11 CS lead coming up for Christina, and a matchup that definitely should be in favor of Agiles and Blease on paper. Christina showing a lot of depth on this vein. A good jump away from Agiles. Keeps things away, but they're not looking to go back and trade. There seems to be some indecisiveness coming out of the two. And yeah, that's the stun and the bomb blowing up onto Christina, and in the extended trade, it goes over to White Lightning. We also see some extended pressure coming out from Mecha Nerd onto iSenpai. We see an early CS lead occurring in both the mid lane and the top lane, but it's not quite being equalized in the bot lane, but it's a lot scarier if any single person is ahead on White Lightning. That is Vayne. We see the early, I believe, 400 gold lead? No, sorry, 600 gold lead coming out from Vayne over this Tristana, including the first blood gold. So we'll see what's going on. We'll see what's coming out of these early itemization choices. Agiles does have the DF sword, looking to kind of threaten away with that Infinity Edge, hopefully. But Christina finishes the Blade of the Room King. A 12-minute Bork coming out is never a good sign, especially when you're playing a HP-based comp with the Gnar and the Gragas. But we'll see where things go from here. Early wards being cleared out. Yes, we can hear you, Deck. Okay, cool. You're still very quiet. Welcome back.
All right.
Big ultimate coming out to Alcantos here. He's trying to dash away. The minions are just gonna not do it. He has 20 HP left and just barely lives from the all-in from Hads.
Saved by the biscuits.
Oh, but they're being chased here. Does not quite get the stun onto enemy. He does blow the ultimate and gets away safely without blowing the flash there.
It was a nice little bit of trading out, so a lot of power coming out from Hobbs, and so yeah, sure, he's behind on CS. He hasn't finished his item yet, but he can do a lot of damage if given the opportunity, so Alcantos needs to be really careful.
And especially with the cleanse coming out for Azir, that cleanse does pretty much nothing in this matchup against Habs. Pretty much says, I need to 1v1 you with just my mechanical prowess, being able to flash away or dash away from the ultimate and not get blown up by it. And Habs is definitely does a solid job knowing what he can and can't do. A little bit of miscommunication. The stun zone comes out a second too late, and Mecha Nerd looking to kind of turn this around as enemy is right here. We're probably going to see a flash body slam coming out. The flash does keep it away, and it's iSenpai's flash going down again. It's no pressure. Alcantos doing a good bit of damage, forcing them off this turret, and they'll probably take the top turret for this, but we'll see if there's how White Lightning can respond here.
And it looks like they're just gonna kind of let it go. They're pushing up the mid lane really hard. Bot lane is, of course, also being pushed up really hard. And Christina just managing to out-CS Agiles with relative ease, zoning them out very well. iSenpai forced under his tower. That's a pretty easy spot for him to farm from, though.
That's not how this matchup should go by any means. Enemy does end up getting the flank onto Habs here. Still doesn't burn the flash, but does get the chase out on enemy. And Jixing LP just barely kills the enemy as he flashes away at the last possible second, but does not include it overall. We see the Alistair rubbing into the mid lane. They're looking to pressure onto Alcantos, but I'm guessing Alcantos can clear this wave, and they're just going to collapse onto this first dragon. Well, no, sorry. Dragon's already been taken. Dragon's up in a minute 50. And just trying to get some pressure, I guess. Yeah.
That's all it is. They just want, the 1v1.
See, that's why
And-
Tristana's not fun with the 1v1, because unless you're double lift, more than likely you're just going to be jumping away from the 1v1 instead of jumping in, and no one's going to die.
Yeah, and I have to talk about it because we did see Chixagelpi very heavily use it in both the last gank and his recent gank that killed enemy. The parallel convergence passive damage is really strong, particularly against somebody like Gragas, who currently doesn't have any extra magic resist, but he has built some extra health with the Cinderhulk, and he just gets some extra damage for free.
Yeah, I believe enemy has the scaling MR runes as well, so it does him better in the mid to late game, allows him to kind of delay the MR item, assuming you're not against double LP, double AP team like he currently is. But again, early on, Chicks Dig LP getting the better of the enemy in the 1v1. It's not a true 1v1 because it was the halves ult, but the counter gank there instead.
And it was a very strong counter gank overall. They're all going back though. We might be able to see enemy come down here and either protect this tower, which it looks like he's probably going to go do, or he could go towards the dragon pit and clear out a little bit of vision. But it looks like he's not interested. It looks like he just wants to go and maybe keep an eye out on Chixig LP. Oh, he wants to clear that ward.
Yeah, Alcanto's able to roam over a lot faster. Hap's still at his turret clearing the CS, and they are able to give it that pink ward. That's the one thing I really hope changes as the series goes on. People are able to protect their pink wards, because currently what's been happening is, besides the dragon going down, is any kind of warding that happens just wait. That's a really interesting TP call from Mecha Nerd. Yes, we did see that, and yes, we know you canceled it, but wondering what he was TPing to with the non-fight and the objective already being down.
I guess maybe, possibly he wanted to go in while he almost had Meganar and maybe force a fight, but this isn't a team that you can force a fight against.
Especially when you're looking at them from the front, but you do have a... Who's caught out who here? Braum is caught out and sold out and singled out by Karasina, who does a fantastic job, dodges the ultimate. They're looking to try to chase here, but there's so much disengage on this SkyHi lineup.
It's okay. They did manage to get a little bit out of that trade. They did use no summoners, and SkyHi did use both heal and exhaust to get out of that. Not to mention the ults that were blown.
Yeah, but backing up, we have even dragons here. No turrets have gone down yet, and just a simple 200 gold lead coming over for White Lightning as we're looking to shape into this mid game. Really, really interesting to see how well Persina can pressure this lead, because Mecha Nerd is bullying the crap out of iSenpai. Definitely has the ability, though not the ability to TP down currently because he blew it, but the ability to control the waves and really dictate pressure in that lane and make sure iSenpai doesn't have an easy job teleporting into a flank here.
He does have the advantage for now, and he is already finished with his Black Cleaver, but we are seeing right now that iSenpai is going to go back, and he's going to finish his Frozen Heart. Now, the Frozen Heart is really strong against, well, at least a large amount of the team, because Alcantos relies on auto-attack. One way or another, he does.
This is true.
Mecha Nerd relies on auto-attacking, and Agiles relies on auto-attacking. So, with all of this, the attack speed reduction that you get from, the burst from the distortion.
The burst from the distortion causes a flash coming out from Alcantos. That's really interesting. Habs doing the split max and getting the solo kill on Alcantos there. Alcantos being a little bit too cocky, looking to kind of do a return trade there. But as I was saying, found it really interesting as to why Alcantos went to the Morella Nomicon build instead of either the Athenes build or the Nashers build that we've seen become much more popular in recent weeks. But yeah,
just so much damage coming out from House on Oriana. They're gonna get this tower with relative ease. Ooh,
can't avoid that tower aggro there, Habs. But yeah, they do get, that's the first turn of the game going over to White Lightning after the solo kill play from Habs. I feel bad for Alcantos because he's been playing so well in this lane, and up until just now, he had a pretty solid CS lead, but Great
But
play
then-
from Habs to get that solo kill. That was
But then
absolutely
the
fantastic.
The ball would like to have words with you. They consist of Dissonance and Shockwave.
Yeah. Good brief combo onto Agile's. Make sure he spams laugh, shows off his champion mastery, and then walks away in true Simkev style.
That's okay. He does it because he can.
You see the rushed Void Staff coming out for Alcantos, really hoping to get control back in this game and do a lot more damage. I'm wondering if they feel pressured after how quickly the last game ended. Well, I guess there's nothing quick about the overall game timing, but how quick it seemed to kind of come out of control. But if they're looking to kind of take control of this game, they're already down 1,000 gold. But again, they have comparable scaling to this Vayne Orianna combo because you have Tristana who's going to scale in a pretty comparable manner to the Vayne, a little bit less, but you're also going to have the Azir who's going to do a ton of damage and scale a lot better than the Orianna unless you give her the perfect shockwave setup.
It's okay, though. We'll see how that unfolds later into the game. One thing about the... Uh-oh. Looks like we're having a gank come out.
They're chasing down. iSenpai trying to walk out. He still has his flash, but I'm guessing, yeah, they are going to chase it out. They're not blowing the ultimate. Alcantos is able to get the kill. It does turn it around. 60 LP is right there. There's a big ultimate coming down. That's a double kill for Alcantos, and I'm guessing that's going to be a kill on Kuristina as well. And yeah, that's another follow-up. 3 kills go over for 1. 2 SkyHi across the map here.
Ooh, Hobbs.
Oh, what a
the
dissonance,
burst.
damn it. And that's going to be a double kill going over to Habs and extended 3 for 3 overall, after all.
Ugh.
Red team's turret has
Man,
Habs is-
the dissonance damage is ridiculous.
I feel like so many people forget that how much damage dissonance does until there's a game like this when simply 2 dissonances end up killing Alcantos on Azir. Habs is taking over this map. It's really interesting to see him on a control mage when he's been so much of an assassin player and then making the assassin-esque plays with Habs, with Orianna here. And, you know, I criticized his Zed a little bit. He made some very flashy plays but didn't make too much solo other than the 1 kill pretty late game against Mecha Nerd. But his Orianna is really showing up today.
And I think one thing to look at right now is that he has kind of built himself as this sort of assassin Orianna because, yeah, he went for the early Grail because he wants the extra mana regen. Oh, Chixig LP caught out in a really bad spot.
Dodge uses the ult in a beautiful way to dodge the bomb blowing up. Does get the turnaround. They might have overchased here. Mechaner gets a big ulti. They're not quite able to chase it out. And Kuristina makes sure that one thing dies, and it's 2 wards.
It's okay, they did manage to get Bleast out of all of that, but I'm not sure that they want to continue this fight. Chixig LP is low, but he's not dead yet.
He's not dead. Now Cantos and Agiles both can do a ton of damage here pretty safely if you just get a little bit of a mispositioning from Simkev.
slain the dragon.
They're looking to turn into this mid lane, and yeah, that mid lane is going to go down. They don't all need to stand there. That bomb's going to blow it up by itself if the minion wave doesn't. And you get the engage coming out from iSenpai, though he is all alone. The rest of the team is following up in a second. There's a beautiful ultimate from enemy to slow them down, but Habs is unstoppable as he ends up getting Mecha Nerd, and that's 3 kills going over to White Lightning.
So that was crazy. That was an insane play from iSenpai. He decides he's going to go in a 1v4 scenario and fight them. And like the first thing I think of is like, why are you doing this? They're far away, but the rest of his team managed to get there just in time. Hobbs got there with the ball and was able to throw it onto him and shield him, and that was just enough for him to be able to get out of the fight. And they followed up and get some free kills.
Not only
Like, sure.
that, but there was the confidence in Habs to not even have to flashball him to give him the protection. He goes, "Senpai, you're doing a great job. You're buying enough time for our team to come up and kill the majority of them." So, absolutely great
that's
job.
okay.
Great team fighting coming out from White Lightning. And this is the issue when you have 2 teams that can disengage very heavily, very easily. You enter the situation where it doesn't matter who you're peeling for because both sides are peeling pretty much equally, and one team is peeling for a side that just simply does more damage.
And it's okay that we're already seeing, though, little bit of the item discrepancy coming out. Kirstina does actually have his Phantom Dancer already. We're seeing that Agiles is working on it. He does have 1900 gold right now. There it is. He did finish it. But right now, Kirstina's standing on like 1800 gold, almost 1900 gold, just waiting to buy. The question is, what's he gonna buy next? He could go for the Infinity Edge. He could go for a Bloodthirster potentially. I don't know if he feels he needs a Bloodthirster yet, though.
I feel like a Bloodthirster would do him a lot better. Though, yeah, the Infinity Edge would up his damage a ton. There's already a lot of damage coming out from this Tom, and you don't have Azir or Tristana itemizing very defensively. Chixing LP is caught into an interesting situation, and Agile does end up getting the pick. I don't know why you're pushed up there. Yes, your team is around, but they're not super close. And iSenpai is also asking the same question of, why are you here? He's trying to turn this around and fight, but Mecha Nerd head enemy take him down. And an interesting choice of White Lightning as SkyHi picks up 2 kills across the map for pretty much free.
So I think the plan for White Lightning, at least in terms of Chixig LP, I don't know why an Ice Senpai got caught out there. I think he was trying to push people out of the jungle a little bit, but he got caught out by 2 people. Chixig LP knows he can't 1v1 Agiles right now, but what he can do is delay. Kirstina
and hope Kirstina can
fight
1v1 him, because the ultimate is down, and Kirstina does get the kill. And speaking of solo kills, that's another solo kill coming up from Habs onto Alcantos, who doesn't even blow the flash. He flashed 2 beautiful ultimates earlier, but not that one, and it goes down for it. And Habs wants blood and wants to chase enemy out of his own turret. Not really caring about the turret shots here. And it's really looking like Habs and Kirstina showing up, really saying, this game I am ending, this game I am carrying. Much like the 3v5 fight we had at the end of last game.
I think it's a nice, like, rebuttal to the last game where he was doing all of these, like, good plays, but he wasn't really being rewarded for them. So now he's like, okay, I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna make plays, and I am gonna make sure that I get everything that I want out of this. But I have to say, Alcantos brought this cleanse mid lane against the Orianna. I don't really agree with it. I think he should have brought like an exhaust or even a barrier because it's not really helping him out very much. Ooh, Mecha Nerd
I would have liked barrier
out.
a lot better here. Another good disruption coming out, and I'm out. I'm safe. I'm dissipated. Oh.
The most unfortunate flash in the world.
Yeah, that's always the sad play flash.
I think he almost wishes that he had failed the flash just so Kirstina wouldn't have gotten another kill there.
But, I mean, you're Nar, why don't you like giving the kill on the base? But there is a little bit of a fuck up from the, there's a mess up from Simkev on the combo. Ends up blowing Alcantos over to safety. They're overchasing, and Agiles does blow up iSenpai. They're probably looking to turn around this fight, but Habs still has a ton of damage. They want to make sure things are okay. Habs flashes forward again. He's put into an interesting situation. A 3v1 that I don't think he's going to be winning. The rest of the team is there trying to back him up, and double kill going over to Habs. I should never doubt you ever again. Kirstina also gets the cleanup, and that is a 3-for-1.
Forgive him, Habs, for he has sinned.
Forgive him. Forgive me. I have sinned. But that's the 28 minutes. The base is breaking down. I wonder if they'll turn to Baron after this. There's a good bit of HP still on Simcab. He does have the ability to heal with his E. But they get the inhibitor down, and a team that's a lot better at punishing chokes than they were in the previous game to try to collapse onto this Baron.
I think the team comp that is currently coming out from SkyHi is not one that they could have played very far behind. I think that there are still things that they can do to return from this. They do have the potential if they can kill Hobbs or if they can kill Kirstina, because if you look at their team, yeah, sure, Echo can put out a lot of damage. Maokai can put out a decent amount, but not that much. And Alistar's not going to be killing anybody anytime soon. I mean, it happens, but not that much. So if they manage to kill one of the 2 carries, cool, but easier said than done. Oh, the BM. Chixig LP dropped a pink ward while Mecha Nerd was killing the pink ward on Baron.
Hey, I mean, I've been criticizing them protecting their pink wards this entire game, and that's one way to protect it, by just removing it from the map.
Yeah, I mean, you can't protect something that's not there anymore. You just move it somewhere else.
Yeah, but they're setting up for a death rush. They're kind of looking to create this fight. It's been really interesting because SkyHi has picked the Azir in 2 straight games, and neither of which Alcantos has impressed me particularly much because he's been using his ult as an attempted just damage tool. He's not been using it to kind of reset the map, and ooh, there's a miss ultimate from Habs and a miss combo from Simkev, but they're enough ahead, they're still going to probably bully them off this bottom turret and look to push down this tier 2. iSenpai pushing in the top lane, has a big wave following him here. But
I really like this rotation, though, because iSenpai can keep pushing top lane. He has the teleport already. Mecha Nerd is relatively low, so he can't fight, and they have to keep enemy mid to clear the mid wave. So they're going to be able to get a decent amount of damage out here. We might actually see a tower dive. A little bit early to call that, but it could happen.
I don't think a tower dive is very likely with Habs' ultimate being down. But then again, it is Habs, and he's flashed into 2 consecutive 3v1s and won the fight because of it. So I really shouldn't be the one trying to predict what he's going to do.
Yeah, if anything, I will say, oh, well, it probably won't be because Chickstig LP's flash isn't up, and he might not want to flash in.
Has been destroyed.
Also true, but just keeping them here is enough to give the top turret over to iSenpai, and you have the supers pushing in the mid. That's going to be a huge wave pushing on that inhibitor turret, and I would like to see them kind of back up and try to bait around the Baron soon, but you also don't need it. You're dictating where SkyHi needs to be. You're dictating how they need to kind of react here, and you're also poking with the Orianna ball because Ori is also a poke champion and an assassin.
I mean, why not? Ooh, enemy, I don't think you want to follow that in the way you think you do. Christina might be low, but iSenpai coming in from behind.
It has a flank, but nothing really to follow up. The dive is happening, though. It's a good wall from Azir, creating a lot of space. Agiles does kill Chickstig LP. They're on to Simkev here. They're chasing down. Agiles jumps forward and then jumps right back out. And that's a kill over to Habs onto the Braum. There's a lot chasing here. That's Ori going down in just a second. And yes, a double kill over to the Azir and possibly the triple, if not the double over to Tristan as well. But no, iSenpai lives again. But
they have to defend the base.
Interesting call there for iSenpai.
I think that was a weird fight for them, but I think that it was overall worth because they managed to get that tower down. They did manage to get a kill, 2 kills, and one of those kills was actually the ball returning to Hobbs. Hobbs might have been able to get another one, but the ball didn't return in time. It was returning to him and killed enemy on the way.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this is just a convenience kill for me at this point. But I don't think that flank is needed as much. Yes, you have that, but you do not have the wave for it yet, and you're not as a team ready completely to dive forward and really push that aggressively. They're not really punished for it, because, I mean, there's nothing SkyHi can do when they're losing their base if they don't press into it, but currently they're looking to pressure around the map and get the ward control over the Baron that White Lightning has had for most of the series, but not really used that much.
I think White Lightning's never been in a position where they just wanted to get the Baron because it would be too big of a risk. It's a risk they didn't feel they wanted to take, or it was well, we're not sure that we could get it before they could get here, and we don't want to fight that. We would rather use it to bait, and use the vision to bait, and use the vision to make sure that they can't do it without us knowing.
But even so, if you leverage that Baron into a blue buff denial and just get total control over that top jungle, not only is it safer for iSenpai with that massive wave to push things away, but it's also safer to just turn to Baron in the event that it doesn't work out.
Hop's taking a little bit of damage here, but I don't think he's too scared of it. Oh, Alcantos.
Alcantos might be afraid of it. There's Bane cheeking over, trying to turn onto Agiles. There's a good turn fight coming out, but Agile's also a second too early. Kirstein was able to live with the heal. They're chasing over. iSenpai still has, Mecha Nerd still has ultimate here. He's looking to try to get a big wallop instead, but they're able to just chase and just beat this kiting death ball out. And just finally Kirstina goes, or Mecha Nerd kills Kirstina. And, well, they both kill each other apparently. But overall, a 3-for-1 fight going in favor of White Lightning.
And you say that Kirstina died there, but at the end of the fight, Kirstina didn't have any health. He was at almost nothing and was still
Did he
fighting.
die to the Thornmail?
I think he did die to the Thornmail. I think he died because Hobbs took the ball off of him, and he didn't have the shield anymore.
All in all, another interesting aspect of communication, but the inhibitor goes down to White Lightning again. The Dragon is coming up in about 25 seconds here, and they'll probably be looking to turn on that because they can burn it down very, very quickly, then keep enough people around Baron to prevent that from happening to SkyHi, and possibly turn to the Baron in the event that no one presses out and they allow that to kind of seep through. But really solid job coming out from enemy realizing, hey, they're all down, I'm going to get vision control in this area, make sure they can't do it super safe, try to sneak it from us, and, you know, it'll be... It's really interesting because there are the tools... Now that's overstepping. That is straight up overstepping. And Fleece is probably going down. He's buying a lot of time, though. Christina does have the 2 stacks. They're all able to blow away and reset that fight. Mecha Nerd apparently still wants this, pressuring forward. Meanwhile, absolutely...
Orianna soloing Dragon?
I was going to say, there seems to be a lack of damage coming out for White Lightning for some reason in this fight. So they get the 1 for 0, they get the Dragon, and they're getting the vision control and looking to kind of pressure around the... Probably turn on this Baron because they can do it extremely quickly, especially with the Zeke's Harbinger onto that, onto Vayne with her PT and her I-Edge already finished.
Man, look at the Baron's health just melts.
Yeah, it goes down so quick with the double 3 proc hits from Echo and Vayne, but Hobbs deciding that he wants to be alone, pressure with their jungle. He's 10-1-9, can do what he pleases. But they're looking to probably try to end this game soon, head towards top or bottom wave. They have a good bit of control, a 7k gold lead, and they've shown a lot better fighting than SkyHi this game. I think a lot of it's also because they've had, with both sides are peeling so aggressively against each other, it's the side that is able to do that, whose carries that they are peeling for deal more damage are often able to win.
Yeah, I think if Agiles had been able to maybe maintain the same amount of gold as Christina, they might have been able to keep up with this, but he's just been steadily falling further and further behind Christina, and Christina, because he has the potential of the peel from Maokai, the peel from Orianna, the peel from Alistar, even the peel from Echo with parallel convergence being a good way of zoning people, he's able to just kind of kite around wherever he wants. If he wants to fight the tank, or if he wants to fight anybody in the front line, he just hits them. He doesn't care. What are you going to do? Initiate on him? The rest of his team is going to push you away.
But then he might die to Thornmail, which, you know, happens every once in a while.
But, you know, it happens every once in a while. Everybody has to be a dirty Vayne picker once in their life.
But there's a lot of damage still coming up from Alcanthos that Christina can't exactly neglect. We'll probably have to step back a second and lifesteal a little bit. But this slow pressure, this tower is not going down for much longer. Little bit of a questionable use of that pink ward dropping in the middle of the lane. Don't know what vision they're trying to deny directly in front of them in front of a turret. But, you know, to each their own, it's fine.
I think that was more of an attempt at drawing some attention to it so that they could maybe step out of line and get him, but, you know, Azir and Sand Soldiers.
Yeah, they're able to clear these all pretty safely. Would love to see a banner command somewhere on this White Lightning team. Make Agile's the only one who's able to kind of safely deal with these minion waves. But that's also
the siege
because
is working out, though. Because the mid lane is now being pushed in. Agiles has to go deal with that. That means that, ooh, Christina is almost at full health now. No, is at full health from the lifesteal. But look at where Hobbs is. He is hiding around waiting.
Trying to assassinate the
he is playing Assassin Orianna. It's time to assassinate the AD carry.
Things Habs does. Assassin poke Orianna. But yeah, both sides kind of lurking around to slow use of this Baron. This Baron has about 20 seconds left on it. And they're trying to push this wave and then possibly back out, going for that 5th dragon. I'm guessing that's what they're looking more to use this for. But Mecha Nerd does have his ultimate here. That's a big Senator turret. The turret goes down, and there's a lot of peeling coming out, and a good, pretty decent ultimate coming out. They're able to disengage. Christina is on the outside of this fight. 2v1ing here on the side. 3v1ing here on the side. It does not quite do it when it turns into a 4v1 overall. A very split fight, and Habs gets another beautiful kill on the Braum. Mechanerd is trying to chase. Probably a misuse of some of their spells with the barrier and the hourglass there. You can't prevent damage you're not taking. But they're able to back out, trade 2 for 1, and take down the inhibitor turret there. Probably going to come back up from base, look to take one of the 2 inhibitors, and go towards their 5th dragon and try to close out this game.
I think the Hobbs barrier was a panic barrier because he wasn't sure if he was going to get hit by the first auto attack, and he wanted to take as little damage as possible. The Zhonya's was actually to prevent the bomb from being placed on his head, so he did manage to dodge the bomb placement. It was a very nice little fight there. They didn't manage to get the inhibitors, but they did get another tower, and all they really did was they paid for it with Kuristina, but they did manage to get a little bit more out of that.
It seemed funny because Kuristina in that fight, I want to say mispositioned, because he was in a situation where he was 4v1ing without the rest of his peeling team, and Habs was not able to get off a good ultimate by any means, and they still came out with a 2 for 1 in that fight. With both of the tanky members, an enemy and Blease going down. And now Mechanerd is also very tanky at this point, but...
Dragon will be up in 50 seconds here,
so...
so...
not HP. Wonder if enemy can get a second Miracle Steal, like he did in Game 1.
Well, this would be the one. This will be the fourth dragon for him, 5th dragon for White Lightning. They definitely don't want this to go over because it will seal their fate.
Yeah, I kind of hope White Lightning would look to pressure the lanes instead. Say, hey, if you're going for Dragon, we're going to take your base. Instead, they're kind of walking forward, trading out poke. Habs does a lot right here. This is an awkward situation where both teams just kind of awkwardly walking at each other. A good ultimate, a good control, but Kuristina does take down enemy in that fight overall. Habs still has his ultimate, able to use the Bolt of Zone. And Mechanerd's not able to get into this plane, doesn't have anywhere to TP to get a good flank to cause a big wombo. And that's more than likely going to be 5th Dragon over to White Lightning with the jungler dead.
The problem is that Mechanerd is really close, was really close to going Mega, and then they disengaged, realizing that he was going Mega soon. They're like, okay, we could fight you, but we don't want to.
Yeah, and there's the 5th Dragon, and I don't know why SkyHi is still here. They're being chased down. Chixig LP not able to finish off Blease, but they're trying to disengage and slowly walk away, and it's just not working here.
The huge damage coming out from both Hobbs and Kuristina. There's not really much that can be done besides hopefully killing one of them and then hoping that that's enough. At this point, I don't even think that would be enough, because one of them with enough peel is enough to kill your entire team.
Yeah, now if you're SkyHi, how do you take the assumed game 3? That might be coming up soon, but we see another fight coming out first. An Exhausted Vein, they're able to kite back. They're looking to still kind of threaten. Wow, there's the Zeke Sprock on Agiles, but Agiles is not able to 1v1 Kuristina right now. A good gnar from Mechanerd to try to get himself some safety, but ends up going down instead, and that's another person dead, slowly walking into a team.
So to answer your question, I think that assuming that this game is a win for White Lightning, as we're assuming it is now, what SkyHi needs to do in the next game, they need to prioritize the bot lane. Because right now, they haven't really picked a lane. Yeah, Mechanerd has done well in both the matchups he's been in. He's won lane. So top lane is not as big of a problem as we may have thought it would be. But mid lane, it was only a loss because of some of the early pressure from the jungle, and because it was Zed versus the Azir, and the Azir is a little bit stronger, and he managed to kind of poke him out of lane some. But bot lane, Kuristina has been winning each time. Like, he played the Mordekaiser and won lane. He played this Vayne.
We see a quick desperation Baron coming out for SkyHi. They do it very quickly. White Lightning is coming from base here. They're trying to delay. That is the Azir ult already coming down. Even if they get the Baron, what else are they going to trade for this? No one's gone down yet. There's an Ori ult for a triple kill. And that's more than likely going to be the base. Alcantos and Mechanerd will do their best to protect it with one inhibitor down. It'll probably be all 3 down, if not the game just ending with 5 members of White Lightning still completely alive.
I would also like to see, I would love to see a little bit of a cheese comp. I say cheese comp, but like I want them to do a 2v1, or I want them to do maybe leave some stuff open and say, okay, we'll pick them.
Personally, I want to see Enemy on something more aggressive.
Yes.
Now, he's had some decent ultimates in these fights as Gragas, but he hasn't been too impressive on it. He hasn't been this big disruptive force. And I don't know how you pick Agiles into a winning matchup when a Vayne Alistair is winning lane against a Tristana Braum, which by all means should be in favor of the enemy team. So they're trying to take the base with all of SkyHi in their face. Hobbs finally goes down, but that's game 2 going over to White Lightning.
Jeez, and that just shows, we talked a little bit about Hobbs before. We can say, oh, well, last game he just didn't get what he wanted. He was able to outplay a lot this game. He showed the power of this, well, AP assassin Orianna. Managing to just clip people every time he wanted.
Yeah, doing 8,000 more damage than Alcantos in this game, and just playing absolutely fantastically. Has had 2 very impressive games in the series. Game 1, not exactly having it show in the stat line, being, I believe he was like 3-3-12, which is not the score you expect on a Zed, but playing very well, having some very flashy plays, and then in Game 2 just showing up and dominating on that Orianna. So we're going to take a little bit of a break. We're going to be going into Game 3 here. Will White Lightning take it home? There's a 3-0 sweep, or will SkyHi start the reverse sweep? Let's see it in the chat here, and we'll be right back in just a couple minutes with House Party 5v5.